Detroit Lions and the New England Patriots. As we sit right now, Patriots are 3.5 point home favorites. 45.5 is the total. Adam, we might get Daniel Jones. If we don't, it's going to be Bailey Zappi. It will not be Brian Hoyer, who has been put on IR due to a concussion.
Mac Jones. Mac Jones. Yes. Mac Jones
or Bailey Zappi in this thing. What does it matter to you with the way that you want to go about betting this game, or does it matter at all? Like, is there anything that could happen at the quarterbacking position for the Patriots that would make you want to play one way or the other in this thing?
No. It's the same evaluation I had of New England last week. This is a team that wants to run the ball, and this is a team that ran the ball very effectively in Green Bay. That New England side that we talked about last week was one of the easier covers of the week. And on the other side, again, I talked to you about this last Sunday night. The line is actually not really moved in my favor, but I took the Lions in a teaser last week because of the fact that I think the style of play that New England is going to throw out there is not going to lead to them winning anything by more than one score, even if they do win the game. So I have Detroit plus 8.5 in pocket. I am sorely tempted to add Detroit plus 3.5, but that being said, it gets into what you discussed. Which of their guys is actually ready to go, right? DeAndre Swift is still questionable. Amon-Ra St. Brown is still questionable. Chark is trending toward playing. That being said, didn't exactly slow down the Detroit offense last week. They still were able to put up points. So ultimately, I like where I already am with this game. What stays for me in my mind is the total at 46. I would be leaning toward over here based on the fact that Detroit can still put up points with Jamal Williams as the running back and Jared Goff slinging it around apparently. But I haven't played anything other than that teaser at this point.
Yeah. So the thing that's kept me off this total, and Steven, it's like a lot of people blindly playing overs in these Detroit games. And I would get it. I can't say for sure because I can't get in the mind of Bill Belichick. But for me, it's a team that already plays at the 24th slowest pace, situation neutral as it is anyway. And if they have to go with Bailey Zappi, I bet you this thing slows to a crawl, right? Because Belichick's smart enough to know that, hey, look, the only way Detroit wins this game and beats us outright is if we create a higher variance game by allowing for many, many more possessions and, things can go crazy. Let's lower the variance. Let's play ball control. Let's sit here and try to let the air out of this thing. So again, my just guess as to how that's going to go, but as well as they've run the ball, as poor as the defense has been for Detroit, that's my only concern with the over is I do think that there's a real legitimate chance that Belichick just plays keep away and they run the ball, 65% of the time in this game.
Matt, do you think this move off the key number 3 to Patriots minus 3.5 is Mac Jones injury related? And if Bailey Zappi actually starts, we're under a field goal, right? Is that where you're kind of thinking here?
Yeah, probably most likely, or at least back onto the 3. At least back onto the 3.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Our injury expert Will Carroll was talking about this high ankle sprain that Mac Jones has, and his sources down at Alabama, which is where Mac Jones was looking at. They've had a lot of experience with dealing with this injury, with going back to when Tua was there. If he plays, it's Will's estimation that he's going to be far less effective. Like, this is way too quick for him to come back from a high ankle sprain, as much as you could tape it up and shoot him with some painkiller or whatever. So that's the first thing to kind of keep aware here. And don't forget that Belichick pulled some Bellatrix last week, had him trot out there and throw some passes next to the rest of the quarterbacks during the open session of the media, and then he didn't play. So I think this move to 3.5 is based on some Mac Jones optimism. I'm not totally convinced he's going to play. If he doesn't play, which is kind of what I'm suspecting, then I would be interested in the Patriots at less than a field goal, despite the fact that Bailey Zappi's playing, because going back to my earlier theme for this week, very big differences in class for these two teams this week. The Patriots are 1-3, but those 3 losses were to the Miami offense, the Baltimore offense, and the Green Bay offense, in which they acquitted themselves quite well. The Detroit offense, despite being number 1 in the league, very impressive, but 3 of those were against the Washington, Minnesota, and Seattle secondaries. The only other one was against the Eagles, where most of their production came in garbage time in the fourth quarter, and through the first 3 quarters, they had less than 5 yards per play. So very big difference here for the Lions this week on the road against New England. With that being said, when New England has the ball, the Lions are allowing 6.5 yards per play. That's a half yard worse than the worst team last year. Like this Lions defense is pitiful. So the Patriots on offense, despite that tough schedule to start, top 5 in early down success rate, and has just been a bit unlucky on third downs. They're middle of the pack this year on third downs. So -3 Patriots would be my stopping point. I think it's worth waiting to see if Zappe plays and you get off that 3 and maybe get a 2.5. Would never back them at -3.5 because you're just losing a ton of value. But with the differences in schedule, I think it is worth playing New England here to win this game by a field goal.
These sports books are very smart because I was looking up what the Ramondre Stevenson and the Damian Harris rushing props were. They're not listed. And yeah. They're not listed. These sports books are getting a little smarter in all of this because I was going to say just play them over now regardless because it doesn't matter if it's Mac Jones or if it's Bailey Zappi. Like, you know, a limited Mac Jones certainly means more running regardless against the Detroit defense that is 32nd DVOA against the rush, 32nd yards per rush allowed, 32nd points per play on defense allowed. So, I mean, it leads to a ton of rushing yards. But again, it's not posted yet. They will post it eventually as soon as we figure out who's playing quarterback. So get in before those numbers get out of hand. But that's a play for me. I would be all over some overs on the rushing yards for both of those running backs. I think they're both going to be able to have a decent day out there in this one.